What's going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. Today's video, we're going to be talking about backup iron sights for your AR-15, particularly the MBUS Pro offset sights from Magpul, which we've got a set right here in the box for you to take a look at. I don't know how well you guys can see those. We've also got a set here on our epic 10.5-inch AR-15 pistol build that you guys will get a better look at here in a minute. So we'll go over the specs for them, and I'll give you my impressions given the use and testing that I've done so far. Now, just to let you know, today's video is not sponsored by Magpul or anyone else for that matter. So let's go ahead and switch camera views and we'll take a look at these. All right, so if you know anything about Magpul's MBUS Pro sights, then the MBUS Pro offset sights will be very familiar to you. Just like the original MBUS Pro sights, the MBUS Pro offset sights are made of case-hardened nitrated steel instead of polymer like the standard MBUS sights are from Magpul. This makes them incredibly durable and strong. Now, the rear Magpul MBUS Pro offset sight weighs in at 2 to 2.1 ounces depending on the scale used, I noticed. It has two apertures to it, which I'll show you. I actually have these pulled out of the box so that you guys can get a better look at them. So it's got two apertures on it, just like the other Magpul MBUS sights. The normal one, which is the one that you normally have right here, is 0.07 inches in diameter. And if you flip it down, you get another aperture that's almost 3 times bigger at 0.19 inches in diameter. Now, the Magpul MBUS Pro offset front sight weighs in a little bit less at 1.9 ounces. Both the front and rear sights only occupy just 0.66 inches a piece of your top rail. As you can see, the section that occupies your top rail is very small, and they only occupy 2 inches on the side when stowed away. Both sights offer toolless adjustments for windage as well as elevation, and have positive detents for when they're both deployed and stowed. That just feels awesome. I mean, you should be able to hear that click. So, the Magpul MBUS Pro offset front sight has a little trick up its sleeve where you can actually change the front sight post between the standard 0.060 inch orientation to the 0.040 inch match setup, all without any tools. Although I do find a pocket knife helpful in completing the switch, as you'll see why. I'll show you right here. So, see if we can show you on camera here. To make the switch, what you do is you twist this elevation adjustment up all the way, and then it'll turn. So if you see right here, let that focus. It's set up on the match setup right now. That's the match setup. And if you turn it to the side, now you can see it's wider. That's the standard orientation. Now, if you keep twisting it to try to readjust your elevation, it'll try to turn back. So I find using a pocket knife, putting a pocket knife in there just to hold it from twisting, like so, and then you can start turning the elevation adjustment. Whoops. Back down to get it to lock back into its little hole. And now you can see, if it'll focus, now we're on the standard orientation and it's back down on elevation. Now, to make this switch before, you actually had to purchase a new front sight post separately from Magpul for somewhere around $10. Somewhere along the way, Magpul decided to include the enhanced front sight post in all of their future MBUS Pro and MBUS Pro offset sights, and I'm all the more grateful for it. Now, go ahead and zoom out and I'll show you. I'm actually running, this is a new set for another build, but I'm actually running these sights, the MBUS Pro offset sights, on my Epic 10.5-inch AR-15 pistol build. Now, the main reason I decided to go with the MBUS Pro offset sights was because of this handguard that I planned on using. The handguard is actually a 10.3-inch Aero Precision Atlas S1 M-Lock handguard, and as you can see, it has a break in the top rail where there's no rail section. It's got a little bit where it meets with the receiver, and it's got a tiny little section at the front. I had read somewhere online that if I were to run the original MBUS sights, the front sight would have trouble mounting to the little section of rail at the front of the handguard. Now, I honestly can't say for certain whether or not that's true, as I just decided not to mess with it and run the MBUS Pro offset sights. And I'm glad I did, because they work flawlessly and they look awesome at the same time. And just to show you, there's our front sight deployed. And when it's back down, it sits nice and tight to the rail, as you can see. Now, the rear sight was a little bit trickier, because the only place to put it is actually just behind the case deflection and on top of the forward assist button. Luckily, my charging handle doesn't hit it. It is a little cumbersome to deploy quickly, but it works. To be honest, had they, Aero Precision now makes this M4 E1 upper receiver without the forward assist button now. Had they made it back then when I bought this, I probably would have got it without the forward assist button and just had more room to deploy this sight if needed. Now, the first time that I actually used these sights was at about 85 yards, and I was hitting an 8-inch steel plate first try without even adjusting the sights. And I'm not that great of a shooter. Now, my front sight is actually set to the match 0.040 inch setting, so that may possibly have helped. Now let's jump back up top and we'll wrap this up. And we're back up top. Now currently, the Magpul MBUS Pro offset rear sight retails for $104.95, and the Magpul MBUS Pro offset front sight retails for $84.95 on Magpul's website, bringing the total for the set to $189.90 plus shipping and handling. However, you can pick up the Magpul MBUS Pro offset rear sight for $88.84 and the Magpul MBUS Pro offset front sight for $66.61 on Amazon right now with free shipping. Now, if you're interested in picking them up at this price, I put links in the description for both the rear sight and the front sight. Now, it goes without saying that I absolutely love my Magpul MBUS Pro offset sights, and I highly recommend them to anyone that is in need of some great backup iron sights. Now, you guys know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment, because without you guys, we can't build this channel. And you really don't want to miss some of the things that we've got planned for the future. Train hard, have fun, stay safe. That's all for today. I'm out.